everyone. Steve Beverly welcoming you back live to Fesmeyer Field at Union University. And it's game 2 for our doubleheader. A 10-9 victory for Delta State over Union in the opener. And we'll give you the starting lineups. On the mound taking his warm-up tosses for Union is the right-hander Noah Toney. He is a sophomore. And your starting lineups for Delta State, leading off and playing center field, Wes Warnock. Batting second baseman Brendan McCauley. Brett Burrell, the right fielder, is hitting third. Dylan Coleman, the third baseman, will be in the cleanup spot. Blake Dendy, the left fielder, hits fifth. Batting sixth, the designated hitter Eric Newsom. Braden Jones, the first baseman, will be batting seventh. Batting eighth, Tristan Hickman, who is the catcher, and Taylor Woodcock, the shortstop, batting ninth. For Union, Eli Snelson, who pitched 5 very effective innings for the Bulldogs in the opener, he'll be playing center field. Carson Chavies, the right fielder, batting second. Mitch Sisk will be third base. Alec Hardy, second base. Grant Ross, first base. Jake Cale will be playing left field. We'll tell you about the others as we go along, but let's get it started. Warnock is up to the plate, and here is the first pitch. It's outside for a ball. Also, for Union, the designated hitter is Blake Barrett. Canyon Pace will be behind the plate catching, and Dylan Barrett batting ninth, and he's at shortstop. And second pitch, outside, ball 2. In case you just joined us, Union had a lead of 6-1 at the end of 4 innings, and then the floodgates just opened up in the 5th, 6th, and 7th for Delta State, and they led it 10-6. Union came back with 3 runs in the 9th, and it looked as though they might have an opportunity to come away with it. They fell a run short, 10-9. 2 balls and 1 strike to Warnock. And that one hits the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the left-hander. Well, the shadows are beginning to come over Fesmeyer Field right now as our first game ran 3 hours and 24 minutes. And here comes the 2-2. And just got a piece of it. Fouled it back. And the lights have been turned on here at Fesmeyer Field. We are expecting sunset in about 46 minutes. So we've got at least a little bit of daylight. Might get 2 or 3 innings in before the sunset, and that's going to be tapped. And a quick run, and the pitcher can't hold on to it. It was a valiant effort. That was one of those slow-rolling infield balls that just simply didn't get out of the grass, and it was an effort by Toney to try to grab it, but he couldn't, so he gets on with an infield hit, and that brings up McCauley, the second baseman. Brendan was 1 for 4 in the opener with 2 RBIs. So Union deals with a runner on first, and attempting to the bunt is McCauley. Missed it for strike 1. Temperature has fallen 1 degree to 51 degrees. It was 52 for the entirety of our first game, but we are dealing also with a 12 to 14 mile an hour northwest wind. And there's a high fly ball going into deep right field, and the right fielder is under it, and Chavies snags it for out number 1. So it was 51 when this started up. By the time we finish this one, we are probably going to be down in the low 40s. Typical February weather for baseball in Jackson, Tennessee. No question about it. This is Burrell, the right fielder, with a runner on first still and 1 out. And I see the blankets expanding here in the bleachers around us. That pitch was inside for a ball. We got some electric bicycles that are making their way around the Union campus. On the drive-in entrance, that one's low for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. Delta State trying for a sweep of this series. They won last night 11-7 against the Bulldogs. Firing it to first, runner back in easily. Absolutely perfect sky, not even a cloud visible here as we are approaching sunset. And that one is low for ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. Union Lady Bulldogs have won again, 82-64 this afternoon in their match against West Alabama to go 25-2 on the season. They've got 3 games remaining. Actually, 2 games remaining, 2 regular season games remaining, and that'll be next weekend against Lee and Shorter, and they'll be right here on campus. They will be available on Flow Sports. Runner was moving, but the ball was fouled back. That will be on the Flow Sports app on Thursday night. We'd love to see a lot of you here in person for the game against Lee. And then the week after that, the runner going again and picked it up. Did not tag the bag, but he got him at first. It was very, very close play at second base. And the officials calling time because apparently the Union Brain Trust thought that he stepped on the bag, but the ump is not going to reverse his call. But there's 2 down and a runner on second. Warnock has made it there, and this is Burrell, the right fielder. No, actually, this is Coleman, the third baseman. Burrell just had that ground out, and so this is Coleman, the third baseman. And there's still a discussion going on with the umpires on this. And whatever it is, we have finally either resolved it or not resolved it, but we are continuing as we can. So Coleman, the third baseman, and the opener, he was 4 for 4. He was our player of the game. And the pitch, down low for a ball. We have had a lot of troopers out here in the bleachers today that have really braved this chilly weather. The wind chill has been what it is. The wind chill's been down about 40 today. Tomorrow will be a completely different day, not as far as the skies are concerned. It's supposed to be a beautiful day, but 72 tomorrow in the hub city of West Tennessee. 2 balls and no strikes, a runner on second for Delta State. And that one right down the middle for strike 1. Coleman just had himself a solid day in the opener and did a lot of letting the ball just come to him and hitting it where it was pitched and managed to scatter it around his hits quite well. He had a walk in addition to those 4 hits. Here comes the 3-1 pitch, and he steps off the mound. Here's the wind and the pitch. Yes, in there for strike 2. So we've gone full, 3-2 with 2 down. This is the one. I'm going to probably make a picture of how interesting these fans look. The pitch, that one is fouled back beyond our press box area. I mean, you've got everything. They are bundled up so heavy you would have thought that they have brought a Coleman camp stove out here to try to stay warm, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody doesn't have one. Just wait till it gets to be dark, which is probably about an hour from now. Here's the pitch, and that's a line drive into left field, and that's going to bring home a run. And he made the turn to go to second, so Coleman picks up where he left off. That is the 5th hit of the doubleheader for him, and he brings in the game's first run. And Warnock comes in with the game's first run for the Statesman, and that brings up Dendy, the left fielder. He was 1 for 5 in the opener, but he had 2 runs batted in. Had a 2-run single that was huge. Here's the pitch. High fly ball going to left center field, and the center fielder comes over, and Snelson takes it for out number 3. But Delta State comes up with 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We have completed a half inning, and your score, Delta State 1, Union just now coming into bat.
Are you looking for a Christian college or are starting the college search process? I want to take a second to tell you about my school, Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. Union is a private 4-year university known for its rigorous academics, Christ-centered community, and the success of its graduates. My favorite part about Union is the faculty. The professors here are so intentional about helping students grow not only academically, but also spiritually. You should check out Union for yourself. Come for a visit. I know you'll love it. At Union University, you'll be transformed.
Snelson will be the leadoff hitter for the Bulldogs. And into pitch is Cameron Koch. He is the left-hander, and he's a senior with a 6.52 ERA. And he's a hard-throwing left-hander without question. We've taken a vote up here in our booth as to whether or not we should actually start one of those small campfires up here, or perhaps somebody just open up a blowtorch and we could have a little bit more warmth in here. And so the warm-up tosses have been finished. Snelson threw 101 pitches. He didn't hit in the opening game, being the pitcher, but he threw 101 pitches, and he scattered 6 hits, only allowed 3 runs, but just did not help with the bullpen. So let's see what the center fielder does in the second half of this doubleheader. Delta State with the lead, 1-0 on the RBI single by Coleman. And the wind and the pitch. Right down in there for strike one call. Coke has a great combination of pitches, good fastball and good curveball as well. Occasionally will throw a sinker. There he goes, fires it, and he's just pure fastball with that one, and it's strike two. The one thing that I have noticed is that the fans have been a bit quieter as this this cold weather continues here. There's one thing I also notice about our camera guy, Billy Bolin, is that the colder it gets, the more stoic he is as he is behind the camera. And there's a line drive base hit into the left field. Excellent job to get it started by Snelson. So Carson Chavies, the right fielder, is up after him. Carson was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. He walked 3 times in the first half of this doubleheader. So maybe Snelson has started something here in the first. You always love to get that first batter on. There's one lady over here in the stands that has on, I think she is in a sleeping bag out there. It looks like it's one of these that you can pump up. It's a gray and blue. It has to be a sleeping bag she's in. And, I mean, she has it covered all the way over her nose. And I must say she's one of the more intelligent people in this place to do that. 1-0 the count and the pitch. That one's fouled off to the right. Ball and a strike. I got to stand up here and see what more of these fans are looking like here, because this is a challenge to get through this. Of course, you got some of these fellas out here that are just in sweaters, and they're tough. They don't worry about it at all. I saw a guy during the opening game that was actually in a short sleeve shirt. Good luck to him. A ball and a strike to Chavies. And they fire to first. Not a real threatening throw. I keep giving you the fashion report around here. There's a lady that has a big, broad-brimmed hat and a heavy coat, and it looks like a triple-layer scarf. There's the pitch. High foul, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out for the Bulldogs. And they've got Snelson down at first. And the pitcher keeps looking him back. And the pitch. Outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The wind, and he goes to first again, and the runner gets back easily. This is one of those late afternoons that if you had a gallon of hot apple cider, that would be really what would hit the spot, unquestionably. There's the wind and the pitch. A little bit up high, 3 balls and 2 strikes, so he's gone full. And Chavies managed to walk. He managed to navigate 3 walks in that opening game, so he has plenty of experience doing this. Here comes the payoff pitch. And it is high for ball 4, and so Bulldogs have a threat going now with runners at first and second. And that will bring up Mitch Sisk, the third baseman. In the opener, he was 1 for 3 with an RBI. He walked twice himself. And Cameron delivers. And it goes right down in there for strike one call. And he's taking his time between pitches. And the runners are going. And they will have to subsequently trot back to their respective bases. No balls and 2 strikes. And once again, you may be hearing the wind. If you hear something that sounds like a little bit of a crackle, it is the wind that is kicked up again. That wind chill is 39 degrees out here right now, and that one's low down in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So they lost the threat of the double steal. And so Coke ready with the 1-2 pitch. Looking back the runner to the second, and he comes off the mound and tosses to the second baseman. So the 1-2 is on the way again. Bulldogs would love to tie it here in the first. And that one's fouled off to the right. And you can see those shadows now really beginning to cover the grassy part of the infield. And the pitch. Runners are going, and they are both going to advance. A double steal, not even any throw. They got a big jump on that one, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now you've got both runners in scoring position. You've got Snelson over at third and Chavies at second. And Sisk ready for the 2-2 pitch. And ground ball foul just past the Bulldogs dugout. So we'll rewind the tape again and let's try another 2-2 pitch. There's a fellow right down here below me that I think he is frozen like a statue. I don't think he's moved in the last 35 minutes in the exact same position. Here's the pitch, and that one's fouled off again. This would really be neat to be able to bring you somewhat of a fashion style as to what it looks like in these bleachers here this afternoon, because there are all kinds. The 2-2, and struck him out. Sisk he hung tough, but he just was not able to catch that one, and it was a strong fastball that got him for out number 1. And that brings up Alec Hardy, the second baseman. He was 1 for 4 in the first game, walked once, scored once, and had an RBI. And he'd love nothing more than to bring in these 2 guys on base. Coke delivers. Low for a ball 1. And for those of you planning to be here for the Union Shorter and Union League games, the Union League game on Thursday night will be 5:30 for the women's game and 7:30 for the men's, approximately. Two balls and no strikes. Hardy in the cleanup spot. And the pitch. That's fouled off to the right. Got a young fan who's going over there trying to retrieve it. Koch has thrown a lot of pitches here in this first inning. And the left-hander fires, and that one's going to be fouled off and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out and runners on second and third. Koch takes a lot of time between pitches. And he fires. And that one right back to him. Runners cannot advance, and he tosses him out at first. Very, very good fielding play by the pitcher. So now it's going to be up to Grant Ross, who had that big 2-run homer in the opening game that looked like it was going to open up the floodgates for Union, but Bulldogs fell a run short. So Ross, again, he has that great power into right field, and the home run that he hit went over the right center field wall. He just settled for a single to bring in these 2 guys. Got the corner for strike 1. The more I look at it, the more I think this lady has the right idea getting in that sleeping bag. Outside for ball 1. She's got somebody sitting over there next to her engaging in conversation, but I think what she's trying to do is actually negotiate some kind of a fee to be able to put the sleeping bag on herself. Here we go, ball and a strike, and the pitch. A little low, 2 balls and a strike. Sunset rapidly approaching here at the Union University campus. And he swung and missed for strike 2. But you look over at the portion that is just off of Pleasant Plains Drive, and it is an extremely beautiful period late in the afternoon as it reflects on the clock tower here at Union. And the pitch, and struck him out and got, nope, he said no. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes and 2 outs. Apparently just got a piece of that one. So the 2-2 to Ross. And struck him out. The Bulldogs threatened. They got 2 men on in the first. No runs on 1 hit. And they had 1 walk, no errors, and 2 men left on base. So we have completed 1, and your score is Delta State 1, Union nothing.
Can I get some help? Whatever they went through together.
Welcome, guys.
Life well planned. See what a Raymond James financial advisor can do for you.
When you hear our name, know that it comes with a promise to give back to the community that built us. A promise to provide a human touch in a world that is becoming more automated. Ever since we put our roots down in Jackson in 1996, we have aspired to be community-focused by supporting programs and organizations that are important to our city. At First Bank, it is our mission to be present in our community and to continue the belief that when you bank local, you get more. Member FDIC.
Noah Tony gets ready for his second inning of work. And he will face Eric Newsom, the designated hitter. He was 3 for 4 in the opening game. He walked and he scored a couple of runs. Newsom has a lot of power, particularly to right field, but he's also very good at letting the pitch come to him. And he swings and misses as one that began to sink. So it starts out with no balls and 1 strike. And the pitch just a bit inside, a ball and a strike. After Newsom, we'll see Braden Jones, the first baseman, and then Hickman, the catcher. And he went around on that one, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tony would love to get him on this pitch. And he fires, and it is just inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Delta State picked up its run on 2 hits in the first inning. Statesman won last night, 11-7. That one's fouled off. And then came from 5 down to win the opener of this doubleheader, 10-9. And that one outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Newsom will wait on the full count pitch. And Tony delivers outside for ball 4. And it's not completely sunset, but around this part, the baseball half of Fessmeyer Field, it has become pretty well dusk. And here's Braden Jones, the first baseman. In the opener, he went 1 for 5. The wind, and Tony delivers up high for a ball. And the lights going on all over North Jackson, Tennessee, around us in the business district. And swing and a miss for strike 1. Benny and Norma Fessmeyer responsible for so much of this outdoor athletic complex at Union University, 2 of the great supporters of this athletic program before they left us. And I had the privilege of knowing both of them. Two balls and 1 strike. And the pitch down low, 3 balls and a strike. So Jones, if he gets the pitch he likes, he'll have the green light to go for it. Somewhat like a run pitch off, a run pass option in football. And he took a swing at it, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And Coke. Here's Tony's delivery. And that one's fouled back. It's behind the bleachers. So we stay with the full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tony has thrown 35 pitches so far in the game. And the pitch. And that one's is tapped over to the third baseman. They go to second for 1, and they didn't get him at first. That tap was just slow enough to prevent the double play, but they got the lead runner at second. Here's Tristan Hickman, the catcher. And in the opening game, he went 0 for 2, but he walked 3 times, and he scored 2 runs. The wind and the pitch. Inside for a ball. So they have Jones down at first. And that one just a little bit outside. 2 balls and no strikes. With all of our commentary about how cold it has been, it has been a wonderful Saturday. It's been just a beautiful day. And that one's outside for ball 3. Compared to what it was last weekend, I can tell you, because the way people were bundled up here, it really, really did look like they had made a run on the late winter clothing sales at the department stores around here. Ball 4, and that makes the runners go to first and second. And that will bring up Woodcock, the shortstop, who is in the 9 spot. And Bulldogs will play back again at double play depth. Woodcock has been known to bunt in these situations, so don't be surprised if you might see that, but not that time. Took it for a strike. And that wind starts gusting again, blowing in toward the players. That's inside for a ball. Woodcock in the opener was 0 for 3, but he walked once and scored a run. And the pitch. Down low. 2 balls and a strike with 1 out. And runners at first and second. Almost. He turned around and he was tempted to toss it to second, but the runner back in very quickly. Here's the wind and the pitch. Right down in there for strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 on and 1 out. So this is going to turn out to be a day-night doubleheader at the, and that one is tap foul, and it goes just almost back to the Bulldog dugout. So we'll spin the wheel again on another 2-2 pitch. Warnock, the center fielder, who is the leadoff hitter, would be next. and they decide to trade off baseballs. So Tony gets ready to deliver again. He's from Florence, Alabama. He fires and struck him out. That's the first strikeout for Noah Tony. That's 2 down, and that will go back to the top of the order with Warnock. The left-hander, he is 1 for 1. Scored that run that Delta State delivered in the first inning. And he lines that one just past the second baseman, and it looks as though they're going to try to bring him in, and he is going to score. So Warnock delivers a 2-out single. Runners at first and second now, and Delta State on top 2-0.
Now batting the second baseman, number 2, Brendan McCauley.
McCauley, the second baseman, checks in. He's 0 for 1 so far today. Tony fires. Right down in there for strike 1 call. Koch has 2 strikeouts in the game so far. Tony 1. And he fires it outside, 1-1. I've had a number of players who have told me over the years that, frankly, this is the toughest part right at dusk as far as your vision out here, because of the fact that the lights haven't taken effect as much. And that's going to be a line drive right back up the middle. Let's see if it scores another run, and it looks as though it's going to. And he picks it up in, and coming in with run number 3 is Hickman. And runners again first and second. That's 2 straight singles up the middle between the shortstop and second baseman. So it's a 3-0 lead for Delta State. And they delivered that with 2 out. Here's Burrell, the right fielder. He's 0 for 1 so far. Delta State 3 runs on 4 hits. Union had 1 hit in the first inning, and that's a strike. And the wind. The 0-1 inside, a ball and a strike. Tony has been in not quite 2 innings, and he has already thrown 53 pitches. Here's the wind, the pitch. And that one is going into, it drops right in front of the center fielder. That's going to score the 4th run. So it's 3 straight 2-out singles that have led to 3 more runs for the Statesmen, and 4 runs on 5 hits now, and they have had clutch hitting with 2 out.
Now batting the third baseman, number 14.
And here comes the cleanup hitter, Coleman. He's 1 for 1 with an RBI. And again, runners in first and second. Outside for ball 1. And these have not been powerfully hard hit balls that these singles have been, but they have just been positioned very well and just beyond the range of the infielders or right in front of the outfielder. A ball and a strike with 2 outs here in the second inning. Tony fires up high. 2 balls and a strike. And it has to really put a lot of pressure on the pitcher to have thrown as many pitches as he has in these first 2 innings. Because we're looking in the neighborhood of 60 right now. And that one is tapped. It's going to be tough, but Tony's going to take it himself and steps on first base for out number 3. But for Delta State, 3 more runs on 3 more hits. They came in bunches there in the second inning. No errors and 2 men left on base. So we have completed an inning and a half, and Delta State on top, 4-0.
Your life. Your home.
Your business. Your future.
Focusing on you, West Tennessee Bank strives to serve its clients in every season of life. With vast experience in personal and business banking, we take pride in guiding you through significant events. At West Tennessee Bank, we help you realize your dreams.
West Tennessee Bank is a division of Decatur County Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. West Tennessee Bank, focused on you.
Whatever they went through together.
Welcome, guys.
Life well planned. See what a Raymond James financial advisor can do for you.
Steve Beverly back with you live at Festmeyer Field as Delta State, after taking the first game 10-9, is on top of Union 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. And up to plate is the left fielder, Jake Cale.
Now stepping to the box for Union, the left fielder, number 23, Jake Cale.
Jake drew a walk in the opening. He was a pinch hitter in the opening game between these two. And the left-hander delivers. And that's in there on the inside corner for strike 1. As I mentioned, a lot of players have told me that the dusk period is so tough because you're not dealing with either majority sunlight or you're not dealing with the lights having taken the full effect here on the field. And they preferred really just to finally go on ahead and be dark. There's a drive that is going back deep into left field. It's up off against the wall, and he's going to have to come back and chase that one. Now, did they call that a foul ball or? Well, Jake is treading all the way back in. So it appears that that one bent foul, and so Jake, that was just, as we say, a long strike. And that was one of the things that affected our vantage point here, because here in the dusk it was very difficult to see, particularly the line of sight with the buildings in the background. So apparently it did bend foul. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jake gave that one a big ride. Want to send a shout out to his brother Sam, who has been dealing with a stomach virus this week. Hope he's doing a lot better. And the wind and the pitch, and struck him out. That's out number 1 as they whip the ball around the infield, and that brings up Dylan Barrett, the shortstop. He actually it's the other Barrett in this case. Blake Barrett. Dylan is the shortstop. Blake is in at designated hitter. And that's outside for a ball. And behind the plate, you've got Canyon Pace, who would be next. And the wind and the pitch outside for ball 2. You can see how intent he is at the plate. Koch fires. It's a high bouncing ball that's going to get into center field, and he's on with a base hit. And that will bring up Canyon Pace, the catcher. He did not play in the opener. Pace has a lot of upper body strength. And you have to believe he spends a lot of time in the weight room. Runner on first. 1 out. And that one's outside for a ball. Koch takes his time between pitches. He's eyeing that runner at first. Outside again, 2-0. That was the second hit that Union has had. They could not convert in the first inning and now trail 4-0. Of course, the second half of the doubleheader is a 7-inning affair instead of the 9-inning that we had in the opener. That one goes low, and it is 3-0. So the Bulldogs would love to put on first and second here. And you have to figure he's going to be taking this pitch all the way. Not a doubt in my mind he was going right down the middle. 3 balls and a strike. And let's see if Pace has the green light on this one. Koch fires, and that was fouled out of play. You tend to lose view of the balls going foul much faster when you're in this kind of dusk versus dark period. And here comes the 3-2. So got just a piece of that one, so we'll do another 3-2 count. Koch winds and pitches. That's fouled off again into the screen. Pace is hanging tough. So we continue at 3 balls and 2 strikes, and that puts the pitch count up a bit on Koch. Tony has thrown 58 pitches in his 2 innings. And again, another one fouled out of play. We may be at this a while. I think I've seen more toboggans being worn here in the stands than I have seen in probably the last 2 or 3 years, particularly at a baseball game. Here's the pitch. Low. The breaking ball did not hit the corner, and so Pace goes down with a walk. And here's Dylan Barrett, the shortstop. Dylan was 1 for 4 in the opener and scored a run. So runners at first and second with 1 out. Bulldogs seriously needing some runs, even though it's early. They don't want to fall behind any further. And Koch with the fastball, and that one had hit the top of the plate before it ran down the baseline. No balls and 1 strike. Barrett having a short discussion with the umpire. This has been a rather long bottom half of the second inning. And that one's outside. Looked almost like he was aiming the ball on that one. A ball and a strike. We are rapidly approaching the 6 o'clock hour. And we started this afternoon with the opening game at 1 o'clock. He steps back on the rubber and fires. And that was a bouncing ball that's going to be hard, and he cannot get it out of his glove. Again, that was one of those odd bouncing balls, and trying to charge it and doing a good job of it was Woodcock, but he just couldn't get it out of his glove, so we have the bases loaded. And they're going to score that a hit. So it goes back up to the top of the order for the center fielder, Eli Snelson. Eli had a base hit his first time up. Now he's there with the bases loaded and a chance to do some real damage. And that one's inside. There's no place to put him. Chavies and Sisk would be next, and they are anxious to get to the plate. And they'd like to get several of these guys up there and bunch some runs together. And Koch delivers, and it's in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hope you're enjoying the coverage today. It's our pleasure to bring it to you right here on the Bulldog Network. And he fires, and it's on the corner again. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Snelson. You know that Koch wants to get his pitch here. He struck out 2, and he would love for this one to be the 3rd one. Looks it down and fires outside. He tried to get Snelson to chase one, and Eli would not bite. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They're on every base. You got a Barrett on 3rd, Pace on 2nd, another Barrett on 1st. And the pitch. Outside, 3-2. This could be a huge pitch for both teams right here. Koch from the stretch. And the pitch. And that one's going to go slow roller to the second baseman. He fires to second. He knows they're not going to get it for first. And the Bulldogs come in with their first run of the game as Barrett scores to make it a 4-1 game. So the ground out, fielder's choice. puts runners on first and third. And that brings up Chavies and gives Nelson an RBI. That was a good play by McCauley at second, but it was just a difficult thing to get that ball out of the glove and get it to first, and they probably would not have nailed him anyway. And that's in there for a strike one call. 2 down now. Bulldogs finally on the board, trailing 4-1. And here comes the 0-1 pitch. And the runner is going, and that one's going to be right down the middle to the center fielder, and he nails it. Hit a great running catch by Warnock for out number 3. The Bulldogs got 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and they left 2 men on base. So we have completed 2. It is Delta State 4 and Union 1.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
You trade in your car. You trade in your house. So why not get some equity back from your old HVAC system? McCoy's Heating and Air will now give you up to $2,000 trade-in for your old unit. Plus a free 10-year parts and labor warranty with the purchase of a qualifying York system. That's right. Trade in your old unit and get up to $2,000. Plus a free 10-year parts and labor warranty. For a limited time, only from McCoy's Heating and Air.
Noah Toney back on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. One thing to be looking at is his pitch count. He has thrown 58 pitches in the first 2 innings, and they don't want to see him duplicate that in the next 2. Delta State got out of that jam, and they still lead it 4-1, and here's Dendy, the left fielder. He's 0 for 1 today. I should say this evening, because the lights are now beginning to take over. And he swung and missed that one for strike 1. You see some remnants of dusk over to our left-hand side here, but within about the next 10-15 minutes, it's going to be totally dark, and it will be a night game here in our nightcap of this stuff. So I can officially call it a nightcap then, because it won't be day any longer. I get an assurance over here next to me from my colleague Andrew Burris. Here's the pitch, high and outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. And Toney delivers, and that one's low. 3 balls and 1 strike. Tough spot for him is that he has been pitching behind the hitters for most of these first, now into the 3rd inning. And that one's high for ball 4, so Dendy takes a walk. That's the 3rd walk for Delta State. Toney has struck out 1. Here's Eric Newsom, the designated hitter. He walked his first time up. And one after that one, strike one. Dendy is not as much of a threat to steal at first, but they will keep their eye on him. And the pitch. Right down in there for strike two. So he's ahead of this one, no balls and 2 strikes. Newsom had 3 hits in the opening game of the doubleheader. And struck him out. Went down swinging, and that is the second strikeout for Noah Toney. And that's going to bring up Jones, the first baseman. Braden is 0 for 1, but he scored a run. He hit into a fielder's choice, but scored a run in the first inning. That pitch in there for strike one. So Tony's had a better strike ratio here in this third inning. And the pitch got him on a low one. Got a sinker on him. No balls and 2 strikes, 1 out, and a runner on first. And he's still conscious of Dendy being down there at first, but hasn't really done a whole lot to try to keep. There we go. Fires over Dendy back very easily. And here's the wind and the pitch. And accidentally tapped that one foul. No balls and 2 strikes continuing. Delta State won the opener 10-9 after trailing by as much as 6-1. And the wind and the pitch. And he got a piece of it, so still 0-2. We'll do a temperature check in between innings just to, because it does have a factor in how these players function. And the runner thought about going and backs off of it. Ball low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He looks Dendy back. And the pitch. And got him swinging. That's his second straight strikeout for out number 2. Third strikeout now for Noah Toney. And that will bring up Tristan Hickman, the catcher. He walked his first time up and ended up scoring a run back in that 3-run second inning for Delta State. And that one just a little bit outside and low. And Dendy has had to camp out there at first base for what seems like an eternity. The pitch, he thought about going, but he didn't. Swing and a miss, 1 ball, 1 strike. Toney looks the runner back once again. and fires it inside. 2 balls and a strike. The outfield is playing somewhat equidistant. And that one hits the inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 out. And the runner still on first. And the pitch. And he didn't go around on it, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tony is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 75 pitches right now. And he looks the runner back to first once again. And the pitch. Hit him on the arm, and so he was ahead in the count, and it got away from him and hit him on the arm, so runners now at first and second with 2 out. Dendy moves down to second.
Now batting the shortstop, number 3.
And here is Woodcock, the shortstop. He's 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. And this is the hitter that Tony really needs to get because he'll go back to the top of the lineup. And Warnock, who is 2 for 2 with an RBI. That one is low and away for ball 1. The stretch and the pitch. Again low. 2 balls and no strikes. And catcher's going to come out and talk to him. Pace wants to make sure they're eye to eye on the signs with each other. And they also may be letting someone have a little extra time to warm up in the bullpen. Two balls and no strikes. And you may be hearing some excitement behind us here at the women's softball game on the adjacent field, and that one's in there for strike 1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Grand slam was just hit. And Union won it 8-7 with a grand slam after winning the opener 12-9. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And 2 out. And 2 on. You want to add a 2 for anything else? Go right ahead. 2 cups of hot tea would be really good at this point. And here's the wind and the pitch. Outside, ball 3. So we've gone full. And Woodcock is a threat. The full count pitch is low, and so you have loaded them up. And they're going back to the top of the lineup with Warnock. 2 for 2 with an RBI. He has scored 2 of the 4 runs for Delta State.
Now batting for center fielder number 5, Wes Warnock.
He's been up to bat in every inning. He has 3 hits in the doubleheader. Went down the middle, but it was low. Ball 1. No place to put Warnock. And Tony delivers. Low again, 2 balls and no strikes. He's begun to lose some of his control. He's had some pitches that have just missed. And that one's fouled out of play. 2 balls and a strike. Warnock awaits, and it's lined down the third base line, but it is picked up by Sisk, and he steps on the bag for out number 3, so the Bulldogs get out of a jam with that one. There were no runs, a hit, and a walk, and no errors. 3 men left on base. So we have completed 2.5. It is Delta State 4, Union 1.
The award-winning BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. Over 750,000 views in 2023. We're where you need to advertise. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join over 4,500 subscribers watching local sports. The Jackson Rockabillys, Union University, Bethel, USJ, TCA, Jackson Christian, Sacred Heart, and Peabody. Multi-camera broadcasts, slow motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. The BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. The premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Cameron Koch taking his warm-up tosses once again. Union managed to dodge a huge one with the bases loaded, and Tony managed to get out of it, but he threw another 30 pitches in that inning, and so he is at 88. And in his first 2 innings, Koch has thrown 58. So Sisk, who just made the play to end the inning, he's up to bat first. Hardy would be next, and then Ross. Sisk struck out his first time up. And that one's outside for a ball. And there are still a number of fans who have really hung in there through all of this chilly weather here this afternoon for a doubleheader, and that's outside for 2 balls and no strikes. And there is one lady who has a blanket that she is using to cover her entire head. And I wish we could bring you some individual shots of these folks. 3 balls and no strikes. From where I'm looking at, she looks like a ghost, but we'll leave it at that. I may be digging a bigger hole for myself than I should. 3-0, and the pitch. Got it right down the middle, 3 balls and a strike. And the wind and the 3-1. And that one is a slow roller to first base, but he's not going to have but 3 steps to reach over and tag the bag for out number 1. So a 3-1 count, but a ground out to first. Here's Alec Hardy, the second baseman. 0 for 1 here in the second game of the doubleheader. So far in the game, Delta State has left 6 men on base, and Union has stranded 4. Sis got a single and a walk in the opening game of this doubleheader, and he goes around on that one for strike 1. Snelson has the only RBI in the game. He brought home Blake Barrett and tried to get a soft swing on that one and went around. No balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch. That one's fouled way out of play. And the lights of the North Jackson Business District are beginning to take control of the skyline around us. That one went away from the catcher. Ball and 2 strikes. Bulldogs just need to have some flurry, try to put together some bunches of hits. That's been tough for them this afternoon. And that's inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And here is the wind and the 2-2. And got him swinging. And that is the 4th strikeout for Koch. And that brings up Grant Ross, the first baseman. Had a home run in the opener. And he's 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. And the wind and the pitch. And tap foul right off the end of the bat. No balls and 1 strike. Bulldogs with 2 out. And it's a relatively quiet place right now. And that one just a little bit low down in the dirt. A ball and a strike. This is one of those situations that they need to get 2, 3, 4 hits in a row that have been so sparingly. And they need that right now to get the crowd back into it. And there's a base hit right up the middle. And they get a little bit of enthusiasm from the spectators. So Ross delivers a base hit, and here comes Jake Cale. Jake struck out his first time up. Jake has some great power. You'd love to see him, if you're a Bulldog fan, tie into one here. And they're playing with a pretty big gap in left center field. If he could manage to twirl one out in that direction. No balls and a strike. 1 man on and 2 men are out. And the pitch. Inside. Ball and a strike. Jake was a real star for the Sacred Heart of Jesus high school team that he played on. And swing and a miss. Ball and 2 strikes. Blake Barrett would be next. And the umpire reminds them of ball and 2 strikes. And the pitch. He just dipped down low enough to get a piece of it. So we'll go 1-2 again. And Koch rears back and fires, and it is outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. He's thrown a significant number of pitches himself. He was at 73 on our last count. We don't get an update on that until the inning is over, so we'll see where he stands, and that one's fouled off once again. We mentioned in the first 3 innings, Tony has thrown 88 pitches, 49 of them strikes. And here goes the 2-2. And there you go. It is going into right field. Right fielder trying to chase up with it, and it goes foul. Boy, a long run employed by Burrell over in right field, trying to see if he could catch up to it, and then it just bent foul. So, as we mentioned, it's just another long foul. You can't call it another long strike because it was already 2-2. So Jake will wind it up once again and see if he can deliver something that might be a few more feet inside the line. Koch looks the runner back at first and delivers. And that's a slow roller to the shortstop. He's going to fire on to first, and they got him. So that retires the side, and you had no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. So we have completed 3, and your score, Delta State 4, Union 1.
Can I get some help?
Whatever they went through together.
Welcome, guys.
Life well planned. See what a Raymond James financial advisor can do for you.
When you hear our name, know that it comes with a promise to give back to the community that built us, a promise to provide a human touch in a world that is becoming more automated. Ever since we put our roots down in Jackson in 1996, we have aspired to be community-focused by supporting programs and organizations that are important to our city. At First Bank, it is our mission to be present in our community and to continue the belief that when you bank local, you get more. Member FDIC.
And here we go with the top half of the 4th inning. Delta State back up. McCauley fouls one off. No balls and 1 strike. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI. And that one down in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the wind and the pitch. And that one's fouled off out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tony more than likely is going to go over the 100 pitch mark in this inning. He had a much more effective 3rd inning than we saw in the first 2. And that one's back out of play almost in the same direction. And there's some staccato applause coming from over in the Delta State bench. And that one is tapped right back to Tony. He fires to first for out number 1. That was one of those excuse me hits. I don't think he really meant to tap it in that direction, but
Now batting the right fielder, number 12.
Out to first, and that will bring up Burrell, the right fielder. And Blake is 1 for 2 with an RBI. And Dylan Coleman will be next. One and 0 count. And it is a mite difficult from the energy level here in the crowd because they've been here since 1 o'clock this afternoon. And there's a bounding ball that goes to the shortstop, and he fires on to first for out number 2. Very good play moving from his right to left for Barrett. And that brings up Coleman, who is also 1 for 2 with an RBI. It is so difficult to be with a crowd that has been here since 1 o'clock this afternoon, and they're wanting to see their guys deliver here, and it hasn't happened here in this second game. So it has been, shall we say, a rather quiet one. And the pitch. Up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Stretch and the pitch. Down low, 2 balls and a strike. If he gets on, then we got Dendy coming back up. And that one is tapped to the third baseman. It's going to be a tough throw, but he fires across and nails him for out number 3. Excellent throw by Sisk. So we have completed 3.5. We're halfway through this one, and it is still Delta State 4, Union 1.
Your life. Your home.
Your business. Your future.
Focusing on you, West Tennessee Bank strives to serve its clients in every season of life. With vast experience in personal and business banking, we take pride in guiding you through significant events. At West Tennessee Bank, we help you realize your dreams.
West Tennessee Bank is a division of Decatur County Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. West Tennessee Bank, focused on you.
Can I get some help?
Whatever they went through together.
Welcome, guys.
Life well planned. See what a Raymond James financial advisor can do for you.
All right, continuing on in his 4th inning of work is Cameron Koch. And he has set the Bulldogs down on 3 hits so far. A 4-1 Delta State lead. And Blake Barrett, the designated hitter, who is 1 for 1 and has scored the only Bulldog run. He's up at the plate. Koch has thrown 81 pitches and Tony 100. Here's the 0-1, and that one's fouled out of play. No balls and 2 strikes, ahead of the hitter very, very quickly. Canyon Pace and Dylan Barrett also scheduled up here in the 4th. And that one's inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And here's the pitch. And that one goes right between the first and second baseman into right field for a base hit. He went with the pitch, and so Union has a man on to start the 4th. And here comes Pace. As we say, the Bulldogs have not been able to put together bunches of hits in this second game. And this is an inning where they would like to see that happen and begin to make a move, and that one's down low for a ball. Now, Koch has largely, at this pace of the game, thrown the same number of pitches as Tony has. Tony with 100 pitches after 4 innings, and he has thrown 56 for strikes. He's only allowed 5 hits, but they were able to crowd it around and get 4 runs out of it. And they fire back to first base very quickly, but he's in. Koch has mixed his pitches very well in this nightcap of the doubleheader. And the pitch, and hits the inside corner for strike 2. So it's, check that, it's a 2-1 count, not a 2-2 count. Down low, 3-1. And with nobody out, this could be a big pitch. You also know that at a 3-1 count, he will probably have the green light to do what he sees best. And here's the 3-1. Fouled out of play. So Pace faces a full count. The wind has calmed down, and that's a good thing for all of the fans who have braved the cold today, because, and that one's outside for ball 4, so Union has something going now with runners on first and second and nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th. The American flag out in dead center field is almost calm now. Now check our temperatures right after Dylan Barrett has this at bat. And we are at 45 degrees. I managed to get a quick look at it. There's a bunt. And he fires quickly to first and manages to nail him there, but the runners have been advanced to second and third, so Barrett does his job with the sacrifice. And that'll get it back up to the top of the order with Eli Snelson, the center fielder who is 1 for 2 with an RBI. And that came in the came in the second inning. So Eli with an opportunity to bring in one or two right here. Koch delivers. Outside for a ball. He has thrown 94 pitches so far, 58 of them for strikes. Koch taking his time between pitches now. And he fires. And they called the strike on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chavies would be next. Snelson also had a stolen base when he was on. And that one hits the corner, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. And you know Eli wants this to happen as well. And here's the pitch. Struck him out. And that was just pure heat on that one. And so that's out number 2 for Union. Still got the runners on second and third. And here is the right fielder, Chavies. He walked his first time up. And he's 0 for 1 overall in tonight's contest. And here's the pitch. Outside. Ball 1. Koch has struck out 5 in the game tonight. And Chavies awaits the 1-0. And hit that corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. It'll be another solid pitching job if he's able to get out of this one with the runners on second and third, because they were there with 1 out. And a high fly foul. Is it going to stay in play? It is, and it is snagged by the first baseman, Jones, for out number 3. So once again, Koch gets out of a big jam in which he had runners on second and third with 1 out after the sacrifice. So for Union, Bulldogs still trailing after 4-1.
The award-winning BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. Over 750,000 views in 2023. We're where you need to advertise. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join over 4,500 subscribers watching local sports. The Jackson Rockabillies, Union University, Bethel, USJ, TCA, Jackson Christian, Sacred Heart, and Peabody. Multi-camera broadcasts, slow-motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. The BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. The premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Here we go with the top of the 5th from Fessmeyer Field. Tony back on the mound for his 5th inning of work. So far he has walked 4 and struck out 3. He's allowed 5 hits. It was that 3-run second inning that was the real jolt. and he trails 4-1. And here is Dendy, the left fielder. And that one's low for a ball. This guy has a lot of upper body strength, and you just almost sense that if he tied into one, he could send this thing a mile. And that's a ball. 2 balls, no strikes. Remember, this is a 7-inning second game. NCAA Division II, when you play a doubleheader, and I had to correct myself in the first game, play doubleheader. The first game is 9, and the second one is 7. Two balls and a strike to Dendy. He has walked and grounded out. And that one's down low. 3 balls and a strike. And Tony is at 104 pitches, but not that many more because Coke has thrown 100 in his 4 innings of work. And, he thought that one, he was on a ticket down to first base, and the umpire says strike. One of those late dramatic calls. Here is your full count. And that one is just outside, so Dendy finally does get the walk, and here comes Newsom, the designated hitter. He has walked 0 for 1 overall. And the pitch, and he thought about going down to second, but didn't. A ball and no strikes to Newsom. This is one of these days that when you've been sitting in an area like this, because we have an open window here in the press box, and the pitch in there for a strike, 1-1. This is one of those nights and days, because we've been at this almost 6 hours, is that you'd settle for having a bunch of people stand around and just have those Christmas candles and start singing one little candle, and it would make you feel at least a little bit warmer emotionally. And he went around, he was going for the downs on that one and missed it. A ball and 2 strikes. Or as our old friend Dizzy Dean used to say, he naturally had a ripple at that one. The 1-2 pitch. And that one's fouled out of play. I mentioned this in the second inning, but this chill that we have here, I have never seen our camera operator, Billy Bolin, as stoic as he is right here. Never. And that one is a strike, and called him out on strikes. And so that is the 4th strikeout for Noah Toney. And that brings up Jones. Braden Jones, the first baseman, who is 0 for 2, but he did score a run. He has struck out once. And there's a base hit into right center field, and the center fielder picks it up, and the runner, Dendy, is on that bicycle flying down to third. I mean, Dendy went so fast you thought he was on one of those electric bicycles. And I can say something about that because I rode one last summer. It is a 4-1 game still for, it seems like it has been that way for the last 2 hours for Delta State. And they have runners on the corners with one out. And the pitch. And he went around on that one. Hickman, he has walked in his only plate appearance, and he had a sacrifice as well. So he hasn't officially had an at-bat here, and he has scored a run. And that one is a high foul out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. It's 6:45, and you're hearing just in the deep background the clock tower at Union University as it signals at the 15 and 45 of each hour. And that one's a high fly ball, and the second baseman flying over trying to see if he can get a hold of it. It is caught, and he got him at home plate. A double play. That is one of the most, shall we say, unorthodox double plays that you will ever see, of a second baseman flying over and catching it in foul territory and firing that ball into home and just nipping him at the plate. Excellent job on the combination between Hardy and Pace. So they end the threat. It was no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and a double play to end all double plays to end it. So we have completed 4.5. It is still, and I do mean still, Delta State 4 and Union 1.
Are you looking for a Christian college or are starting the college search process? I want to take a second to tell you about my school, Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. Union is a private 4-year university known for its rigorous academics, Christ-centered community, and the success of its graduates. My favorite part about Union is the faculty. The professors here are so intentional about helping students grow not only academically, but also spiritually. You should check out Union for yourself. Come for a visit. I know you'll love it. At Union University, you'll be transformed.
It's actually turned out to be a good pitching duel between Koch and Tony, and with the exception of that 3-run second inning, it's been pretty well a dead heat between the two of them. Tony has thrown 114 pitches, Koch 100, coming into the 5th inning. Here's Mitch Sisk, the third baseman, who is 0 for 2. He struck out once. And that one is low for a ball. The crowd is sounding somewhat like they do when a Union player is on the free throw line at a critical point of the game in basketball. They're just really, I'm not going to use the term stoic, they're just absolutely silent right now. Ball and a strike. And that one just gets away from the catcher, just bounces up in front of him. 2 balls and 1 strike. And the wind. And the pitch. And that one's fouled. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Bulldogs have just not been able to get any kind of a flurry going. Sisk awaits the pitch. Outside. We've gone full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for Delta State. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Bulldogs. And the pitch. And swung and missed for out number 1, and that is the 6th strikeout now for Koch. And that brings up Alec Hardy, the second baseman, who is 0 for 2. He has struck out once. Three walks and 6 strikeouts for Koch. And he's only allowed 4 hits. Swing and a miss for strike 1. We are in the bottom of the 5th from Fesmeyer Field in Jackson, Tennessee. As the lights and the traffic along the Highway 45 bypass around Union beginning to dot the landscape around us. No balls and 2 strikes and 1 out. Nobody on for the Bulldogs. And the pitch. There is one that goes right down to the third baseman, a one-hopper, and he fires it on to first for out number 2. And that will bring Grant Ross back up, and Grant is 1 for 2 in the game. Ross would love to be able to get this crowd going again if he could hit one out of here as he did during the first game of the doubleheader. And that one is a nice base hit. Slice that one into left field. Hard hit ball. So he's on first. And here comes Jake Cale, the left fielder. Jake is 0 for 2. He struck out earlier. His brother had an outstanding basketball season this year at University School of Jackson. Had one game back in December where he scored 25 points, and he still got some more time to go, but he was tremendous to watch. I broadcast their games as well as many of Union's events, and it really was a joy to see him on the court this year. A ball and no strikes to Jake. And he missed that one for a 1-1 count. Koch doesn't worry at all. Most of the time he has been ahead of the hitters in the game. He's gotten behind Jake 2-1. And what I'm really curious about is whether either of these coaches will allow these pitchers to stay in much beyond the 5th or 6th inning because of the number of pitches they have thrown. Got to fire it long to first base, and they nail him for out number 3. And he picked that one up very cleanly, and Coleman with a perfect throw. So we have completed 5 now. And guess what? The score is still Delta State 4, Union 1.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
You trade in your car. You trade in your house. So why not get some equity back from your old HVAC system? McCoy's Heating and Air will now give you up to $2,000 trade-in for your old unit. Plus a free 10-year parts and labor warranty with the purchase of a qualifying York system. That's right. Trade in your old unit and get up to $2,000. Plus a free 10-year parts and labor warranty. For a limited time, only from McCoy's Heating and Air.
So a pitching change for Union, and we sometimes guess wrong, but not this time. We figured that as we got here to the sixth inning and with the number of pitches that Tony has thrown 114, that they would probably be going to the bullpen, and Lane Evans, the sophomore right-hander, has taken over on the mound. Bulldogs, and so closing the book, Tony gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. He struck out 4 and walked 5. But overall, he had a solid performance had it not been for that second inning in which 3 runs came across the plate. But as has been said so many times, there are 2 phrases in sports that usually do not add up. That's when you begin a sentence with if or had it not been. And that has been certainly true in this case. And I think a big question will be, will Koch continue? Because he and Tony threw 5 innings the same numbers of pitches, 114. And coming to the plate is Woodcock, the shortstop. Taylor is 0 for 1. He has walked and struck out. So Evans puts one right down the middle for strike 1. We are in the top of the 6th. And it seems like almost it was yesterday when we began this doubleheader. And that's up high for a ball. We actually did start it nearly 6 hours ago at 1 o'clock. That was a 3-hour and 24-minute opener that we had. And has to pick that one up out of the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. And this one has been going on for 2 hours and 4 minutes. Three balls and 1 strike. And Woodcock awaits the pitch. Outside for ball 4, and that is the 6th walk by Union pitching today. So we go back up to the top of the order with Warnock, who is 2 for 3. He's been the real damage in this one. 2 for 3, scored 2 runs and had an RBI. Warnock, the left-hander. And you could potentially look on him to try a hit and run here because he's very gifted with being able to hit those ground balls that get out of the infield. They're playing him relatively shallow in the outfield, and he's tried to bunt, and it hit the plate first, so it'll be a ball and 2 strikes. Well, we say pardon, that is 1-1. And the pitch. Inside. 2 balls and a strike. Runner on first. Nobody out here in the top half of the 6th inning. And the wind and the pitch. And the runner's going. And they fire it quickly, and it's too wide. Wait a minute, he's off the bag, but he still managed to get back in there. I'll tell you, the shortstop did a terrific job of picking that one up. Actually, it was Hardy, the second baseman, that picked it up, and it looked like they were going to dash back in there and tag him after he got beyond the bag, but he got back in there. So it's 3 balls and a strike, and now a runner in scoring position for the Statesman. Woodcock is on second, and Warnock waits on the pitch, and he walks. So 2 straight have walked, and that brings up McCauley, the second baseman. He is 1 for 3 with an RBI. And we've got a conference going on at the mound. And they want to try probably to settle down Evans as best they can. He's walked the first 2 hitters that he has faced. Union 1 run on 5 hits, no errors, 4, 6, and 1 for Delta State. And Koch has struck out 6 and walked 3 for the Statesman.
Now batting the second baseman, number
Evans is in relief of Tony. And here's McCauley, who is 1 for 3 with an RBI. And he's in a perfect position to add to that with 2 on and nobody out. And they come in expecting the bunt. And it's a ball. Tell you what, Grant Ross came in there like a bullet trying to get that if it were a bunt. And fires it over to first, gets away, but not enough for the runner to advance at second. So let's see how he winds it up here with a 1-0 count. And the wind, he is showing bunt this time, and he does bunt. And they fire to first because there's just nowhere else to go, and he does his job well as the runners advance to second and third with an excellent sacrifice. Runners were moving with the pitch, and there was just no hope of being able to get anybody at any of the other bases. So McCauley with the sacrifice, and that brings up Burrell, the right fielder. He is 1 for 3 with 1 RBI. Again, most of this damage was done in the second inning. And that was low for a ball. And with first base open, you've got Union's infielders way up looking, in fact, some of them playing on the grass trying to get a play at home plate. And that one's outside for ball 2. Bullpen has had its challenges today, both in the first game as well as the early stages here of Evans in the 6th. And that one gets away from the catcher, but he retrieves it without any damage being done. So it is a 3-0 count. They can put him on first. But you would then face Dylan Coleman, who is 1 for 3 with an RBI as well. Right down the middle for strike 1. So 3-1 with first base open. Now let's see if he goes fastball again. Nope, outside. Almost pulled him off the mound, and so we have the bases loaded once again for Coleman, and that's going to be all for Evans. So we got a call for the bullpen, and we will take a break, and when we come back, we'll tell you who the new pitcher is.
The award-winning BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. Over 750,000 views in 2023. We're where you need to advertise. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join over 4,500 subscribers watching local sports. The Jackson Rockabillies, Union University, Bethel, USJ, TCA, Jackson Christian, Sacred Heart, and Peabody. Multi-camera broadcasts, slow-motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. The BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. The premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Now, the new pitcher for the Bulldogs is Cole Smith. He is a freshman from Clarksville, went to Clarksville Academy. And he is the third pitcher for the Bulldogs here in the second game of this doubleheader, with the score 4-1, and he is going to face the unenviable task of the bases loaded. And Delta State has really managed to create its threat here in this inning just by dealing with walks, because they have been plentiful. The Bulldogs have walked 8 batters in this game, and Delta State has only put 3 Union players on the base paths. And as we mentioned, we think that the big key is going to see if Rodney Batts continues to go with Coke in the latter 2 innings, and probably a lot of that will have to do with whether they are able to pile in some insurance runs here because they are doing so with only 1 out. And they're on every base. And coming up to bat now is Dylan Coleman. And he was our player of the game in the opener here, 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And he hits to all fields. He is a threat in any given situation, and it's hard to deal with him when he's got the bases loaded. And Smith's first pitch is a strike. And that's what Union desperately needs right now, is a lot of pitches that are in that strike zone. They're playing about mid-range in the outfield. 0-2. So the freshman has shown no real fear of coming in here and throwing strikes. You might expect this one to be just a little bit outside. And it kicks away from the catcher, and that's going to bring in another run. It's a 5-1 lead for Delta State. And it's hard to tell whether that one would be scored a wild pitch or a pass ball, but it was right in front of the catcher, and then it kicked way high, almost all the way into the Bulldog dugout. So you've got runners now on second and third with one out. He's still well ahead in the count at 1-2. And Smith delivers. Outside, it is 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a 5-1 score now. And the pitch. And that one's going to be fouled out of play. Dendy will be next, and he has walked twice in the game. Coleman awaits the pitch, and taking his time is Smith. And he fires, and that one is low. So it's full 3-2, and again, the runner's on second and third, and you would expect that they may well be moving with this pitch. And he fires. Outside, ball 4. That is the 9th walk by Union pitchers, and so they are jammed, and Dendy is coming to the plate, and he has walked twice in this game. So he's got a terrific eye, and you just have nowhere to put him at all. He's batting left-handed against the right-handed pitching of Smith. And it's in there for a strike. Delta State trying to see if they could blow this one wide open here in the 6th. And that one just scoots away, and nice job of saving it by Canyon Pace. A ball and a strike. Here's the wind and the pitch. And that one drops into center field, short center field. That'll bring in a run. And the bases are loaded. It wasn't deep enough to score 2 runs, and that's the 7th hit for Delta State, and the Statesmen have gone up 6-1. They won the opener of this doubleheader 10-9. They won last night 11-7, and they are attempting to go for a 3-game sweep this weekend. And here is Newsom, the designated hitter. And he swings at one. He wanted to fire that one into right field, and it managed to get nothing but air. 0-1 with 1 out, and the bases still loaded. Outside, ball 1. And they trade balls. Union pitchers have walked 9 this afternoon and have struck out 4. And he goes after one, and it was low. So it's a ball and 2 strikes to Newsom. Jones will be next. Again, they're playing relatively shallow in the outfield, except in right field. They're playing with a little more depth there. And the pitch, and struck him out. That is the 5th strikeout for Union pitchers. So here comes Jones. Braden, the first baseman, he is 1 for 3 and has scored a run. He's also struck out. 2 out now with the bases loaded, and this is a big one to get for Smith in relief. If you're Union, you just cannot afford for this one to get any more out of hand than 6-1, particularly with only 2 innings remaining for the Bulldogs. That one's high, 2 balls and no strikes, and again, nowhere to go with him. As we have hit the 7:15 mark. And he went after one and fouled it off. 2 balls and a strike. And the pitch. Low, 3-1, and you would expect that the runners on base will likely be moving with this next pitch. So big pitch here for Smith. And he got a swing on him, so it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. We've gone full, and the runners on base will definitely be moving with this pitch. Here's the wind and the pitch. And that's low for ball 4. So he brings in the run, and so give him credit for an RBI. And that makes it a 7-1 game. And checking in now is Hickman, the catcher. He has walked once. And he is officially 0 for 1. He scored a run as well. And that's a high fly ball. Center fielder only has about 3 steps to take and is under it and takes it for out number 3. But not before another 3 runs come in for Delta State on 2 more hits and no errors. And we are at the end of 5.5, and Delta State now up 7-1.
Can I get some help?
Whatever they went through together.
Welcome, guys.
Life well planned. See what a Raymond James financial advisor can do for you.
When you hear our name, know that it comes with a promise to give back to the community that built us, a promise to provide a human touch in a world that is becoming more automated. Ever since we put our roots down in Jackson in 1996, we have aspired to be community-focused by supporting programs and organizations that are important to our city. At First Bank, it is our mission to be present in our community and to continue the belief that when you bank local, you get more. Member FDIC.
back to Fesmeyer Field. Steve Beverly with you as we get ready for the bottom half of the sixth inning, and Delta State comfortably ahead, 7-1. And let's take a look. And Blake Barrett up for Union to lead off the sixth inning. And Koch stays in the game despite his 114 pitches. And it's an 0-1 count. You've had 2-3 spots in this for Delta State, and that was a particularly difficult one. And there is a bounding ball, and the shortstop with a spin move, and he gets it to first, and they dig it out of the dirt for out number one. That 3 spot that Delta State had in the sixth was a particularly tough one for the Bulldogs because they're going to have a huge rally to come back in this one. Here's Canyon Pace, the catcher. He has walked twice, so he officially does not have a time at bat. Koch with the pitch, and that one's going to be a bouncing ball to the second baseman, fires on to first. So you got 2 up, 2 down, and here we go again. Barrett, the shortstop.
Up to bat, the shortstop, number 9, Dylan Barrett.
And he is officially 0 for 1 in the game. And the wind from Koch. And the pitch. It's a high fly ball deep to left field. And the left fielder has nailed it. An over-the-shoulder catch. Outstanding job in the outfield by Dendy as he nailed that one in left field. And so 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We go to the 7th. Delta State still on top, 7-1.
Your life. Your home.
Your business. Your future.
Focusing on you, West Tennessee Bank strives to serve its clients in every season of life. With vast experience in personal and business banking, we take pride in guiding you through significant events. At West Tennessee Bank, we help you realize your dreams.
West Tennessee Bank is a division of Decatur County Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. West Tennessee Bank, focused on you.
Can I get some help?
Whatever they went through together.
Welcome, guys.
Life well planned. See what a Raymond James financial advisor can do for you.
Another new pitcher for the Bulldogs is Jamal Allen. And he is from Birmingham and a transfer from Dillard University. So he takes to the mound as the 5th pitcher in the game for the Bulldogs here in the second half of the doubleheader. And in this one, just looking for added insurance are the Statesmen, as they have had a steady workmanlike performance with 7 runs on 7 hits. Bulldogs have walked 10 batters in the game, and that has added to the fuel for Delta State. And we have reached the 2.5-hour mark in this game. The first one went 3 hours and 24 minutes. As we approach the hour of 7:30 Central Time here in Jackson, Tennessee. And we are glad to have had you aboard today, and we hope that it will be a joyous day of worship for you wherever you happen to be. In church tomorrow, we trust that you'll be there, and then a great week ahead. And remember, all of the home games of Union baseball and softball will be coming your way on the Bulldog Network right here on the Union University UUathletics.com website. And we are delighted to bring it to you, and the production provided by our crew from Worthy Road Studios. And those guys stay on the run. They do more sports via streaming than any local production company I'm aware of. And there's the pitch. And it's in there for a strike. Woodcock, the shortstop, is 0 for 1, but he has scored a run and walked twice. And hit the corner on it. No balls and 2 strikes. And stepping off the mound and then back on very quickly for Allen. And the pitch. Called him out on strikes. And you saw a little bit of a glare by Woodcock back in the umpire's direction. And here comes Warnock, who has been the offensive star tonight for Delta State. 2 for 3, scored 3 runs. He's got an RBI and a walk. And that was a fastball and a half and a high fly ball as they scoot over there, and the one-handed grab is made by Jake Kale. So 2 down, and Allen in mop-up work is doing his job quite well. Here's Brendan McCauley. He is 1 for 3 with an RBI. Delta State has hit .280 as a team tonight. And that one fouled way out of play. That was one of those on the dark side of the back part of Fessmeyer Field. If you saw that coming your way, I think you wouldn't be sure exactly what was coming toward you. Here's the pitch, and that one goes off the top of the catcher's mitt. Evens the count at 1-1. 7 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for Delta State. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for Union. Here's the wind and the pitch. Outside. 2 balls and a strike. And that one low, 3 balls and a strike. So McCauley, who is one of the few statesmen who has not walked tonight, is on the edge of it. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And he does walk, and so every single one of the statesmen tonight has received a base on balls. And that brings up Burrell. He is 1 for 3. He scored a run, got an RBI, and he has walked. Runner on first with 2 out. And that one down low. Some of his pitches are beginning to dip a bit. A ball and no strikes. Here's the wind and the pitch. And he held up on that one, but now let's see. They called it a strike. A ball and a strike wasn't a definitive signal. And once again, here comes the 1-1. In there for strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs. And a runner on first. And Jamal Allen hoping to be able to get out of this one without any damage. He steps back on the mound. The wind. The pitch. High foul. Let's see if they're going to be able to get to it. I don't think so. It just went off of the edge of the bleachers. And there was somebody over the corner in a blanket that I think she's okay. She's wrapped back up. She came out of that blanket in a hurry when that foul ball was in her direction. A ball and 2 strikes and 2 outs still. And Allen set to deliver. And that one's fouled out of play. So this has been what appears to be a marathon at bat for Burrell, but he is hanging very tough. Burrell steps back into the batter's box. And Allen fires. Up high, and it gets away from the catcher, and so the runner moves to second. Now a 2-2 count. So McCauley is in scoring position. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a runner on second. Allen looks the runner back at second. And fires. And that one's fouled off again to the right. And you can see this extended battle that is going on between Allen and Burrell. That's about the 4th foul that has gone off to the right. Allen ready again. And delivers. And that one's fouled back again. And they're having to run out and bring some more baseballs to the umpire. So Allen with about the 5th 2-2 pitch. McCauley still hanging down there with the lead at second. And that one's fouled. I think this is something like a 3.5 minute at bat for Burrell. Allen taking his time now with the runner still at second and 2 out. Coleman would be next. And here's the pitch. It is low and away, 3-2. So this has been watching like a chess game. Delta State still on top 7-1. And we are late in this second game of the doubleheader. And that one is fouled off yet again. That is the 8th foul in this at bat. This is not like what the way you used to play on the playgrounds years ago when it was 4 fouls and an out or 6 fouls and an out, depending on who made up the rules. 8 fouls in this at bat. And here you go. That's going to go into right field for a base hit, and they're going to try to send him home. The throw to the plate is late, and there you go. What an at-bat that was for Burrell. He battled and battled and battled, fouling off 8 pitches, and then got one into right field, and it's an 8-1 lead for Delta State. And that will bring up Coleman, who is 1 for 3 with an RBI. That's the second RBI for Burrell. He's 2 for 4 in the game. So Coleman stands in. He's walked once. He's got a hit and an RBI. So Allen will start from scratch again. And the pitch high for ball 1. I think if there's one redeeming value we can say about the temperature now is the wind has died down to almost nothing. And we felt it a lot during the afternoon game, but it is pretty much calm now. A ball and no strikes. That one went down into the dirt. Allen again. And a high fly ball deep to left center field, but the left fielder is under it, and it's snagged by Jake Cale for out number 3. So another run comes in for Delta State on 1 hit and a walk. You had no errors and 1 man left on base. We have completed 6.5, and your score is Delta State 8, Union 1.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
You trade in your car. You trade in your house. So why not get some equity back from your old HVAC system? McCoy's Heating and Air will now give you up to $2,000 trade-in for your old unit. Plus a free 10-year parts and labor warranty with the purchase of a qualifying York system. That's right. Trade in your old unit and get up to $2,000. Plus a free 10-year parts and labor warranty. For a limited time, only from McCoy's Heating and Air.
new pitcher for Delta State coming in for the save is Tate Duncan. He's a left-hander. And it was an excellent outing for Cameron Koch as he went 6 innings and only allowed 1 run and 5 hits. He struck out 6 and walked 3. And he was helped by particularly 2 big innings from his teammates of Delta State in the second with a 3 spot and in the 6th with 3. And they added another one in the 7th to lead it 8-1 as the Bulldogs are going to need a monster rally to be able to avoid a sweep in the weekend series by Delta State. So Duncan ready to deliver, and that one's way high. And the wind and the pitch. And that one's inside for ball 2. Union 1 run on 5 hits in the contest. They got their 1 run in the second inning, and there it's in there for a strike to Eli Snelson. 1 for 3. He had the only RBI for Union. That brought in Barrett. And it's in there for another strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. And that one's fouled off to the screen. So we stay at 2-2. If Duncan manages to retire Union without one of those monster rallies, he would get the save, and the win would go to Koch. And that's up high, 3-2. Koch threw 118 pitches, and 76 of them were strikes. That is a huge strikeout to pitch ratio. And that one outside for ball 4, so Snelson at least starts it off by getting to first. And that will bring up a pinch hitter for Union. And that is Billy Beckham, who is a senior. And here goes the pitch. It's in there for strike 1.
Billy Beckham.
Duncan delivers and swing and a miss for strike 2. With a 7-1 deficit, you kind of have the idea, an 8-1 deficit, you have the idea that he is probably not going to be trying to steal. And got a swing and a miss for a strikeout, and that's 1 down here in the bottom of the 7th. And here comes Mitch Sisk, the third baseman. Mitch is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. And Alec Hardy would be next. And the runner does go. So that means don't pay any attention to some of my forecasts. That means that they will go if they need to, and they just did. So they stole second without a throw. They're not really that concerned with that runner and won't be that much so unless there's suddenly a big, profuse rally that happens. That one a little high, a ball and a strike. Duncan with the 1-1. And that one's fouled off to the right. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Duncan again. Let's see if he goes fastball on him. He does, and that was tap foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. An 8-1 Delta State lead. They got 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 3 in the sixth, and 1 in the seventh. Union's run came in the second inning. And the pitch. And that one is tap foul down the first base line. So having to slide it back to second base is Snelson. So Sisk to the plate again with a 1-2 count. And they got him looking for out number 2. And that is the 8th strikeout for Delta State pitching.
Now at the plate for the Bulldogs, the second baseman, number 8,
Alec Hardy, the last hope for the Bulldogs tonight. Duncan trying to get the save. He's got 2 down and a runner on second. And that one a little bit high. A ball and no strikes. It's been a long Friday, a long Saturday, a cold Saturday, but it has also been a very, very nice Saturday. It's been just perfect. No rain in the forecast and nowhere near. And that's what we like when we get to this time of year with our outdoor sports. 1-1. And he rears back and fires, and that's going to send the runner to third as it got away from the catcher. It was a wide pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike as Snelson gets down to third. Hardy 0 for 3. If he gets on, Grant Ross would be up, and he is 2 for 3 this evening. The pitch goes around on that. He was going for the fence. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And here is the 2-2. Low, ball 3. So we've gone full 3 balls and 2 strikes. Smelson still lurking down at third. The full count and the 3-2 pitch. Struck him out. Game, set, and match. And weekend sweep for Delta State. Your final score, Delta State 8, Union 1. The winning pitcher in the game, going for 6 of the 7 innings, was Cameron Koch for Delta State. And the loser was Noah Toney for Union. And our player of the game would indeed be Wes Warnock. He went 2 for 4 in the game, and he had an RBI, had a walk. He scored 3 times and was solid. And certainly you could give even consideration to Burrell, who was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs in the contest, but we'll give it to Warnock tonight. It was just a tough afternoon all the way around for the Bulldogs and evening. They had a 6-1 lead in the opener, and then it began to fall away from them, and they lost it 10-9. They made a 3-run rally in the 9th inning, but could not get the tying run back aboard and lost the opener 10-9. And in this one, it was just simply the pitching of Coke that made all the difference, and it was an 8-1 victory for Delta State as they sweep the weekend series. So it's been our pleasure to have you on board with us today, and thanks so much for watching here on the Bulldog Network. Remember, all of the Bulldog baseball and Lady Bulldog softball games are available right here at uuathletics.com. I'm Steve Beverly. Thanks for being with us today, and until we're with you again, so long from the great hub city of West Tennessee.
Are you looking for a Christian college or are starting the college search process? I want to take a second to tell you about my school, Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. Union is a private 4-year university known for its rigorous academics, Christ-centered community, and the success of its graduates. My favorite part about Union is the faculty. The professors here are so intentional about helping students grow not only academically, but also spiritually. You should check out Union for yourself. Come for a visit. I know you'll love it. At Union University, you'll be transformed.